LeBron, he's not what Michael was as a player. He's not even what Kobe Bryant was as a player. So when you talk about trying to compare Michael's instinct, his ability to take over games, his ability to want to have that last shot.
And demoralize you.
Yes.
And scare the living hell out of you.
LeBron doesn't have that gene.
So, Scottie.
That's not in him.
Right.
Kobe has that gene.
Scottie Pippen has never been shy about sharing his thoughts on Michael Jordan. And over the years, plenty of people have criticized him for it. But one of his comments about LeBron James continues to spark debate. Pippen never claimed LeBron wasn't an all-time great. He never said he wasn't one of the best to ever play. Instead, he made a much more specific point. According to Pippen, LeBron doesn't possess the same killer instinct in clutch moments that define Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. Years later, that statement still fuels the GOAT conversation because it targets one of the most debated parts of LeBron's legacy, how he responds when everything comes down to the final shot, the final possession, and the biggest moment of the game. What made Pippen's opinion stand out wasn't just the claim itself. It was who it came from. This wasn't a television personality chasing headlines or a former player looking for attention. This was Scottie Pippen, the man who spent 6 championship seasons alongside Michael Jordan, watched him dominate under pressure, and witnessed firsthand how Jordan crushed opponents before the ball even left his hand. So when Pippen says LeBron isn't built the same way in those defining moments, people pay attention. Not because everyone agrees with him, but because he's experienced the highest level of championship pressure from closer than almost anyone else.
That what it took LeBron years to maturate to mentally and in your heart, Jordan came into the league with that. And that, to me, is what I have a problem with when people say something about LeBron. You might have matured to a point, but if Jordan came in the league with that mentality and that killer in him, and it took you a decade to develop it, to me, you out of the equation.
That single statement is what gives Pippen's argument so much weight. He's not just comparing skill or accomplishments. He's comparing mentality. Some players develop the ability to perform in pressure-packed moments. Others seem like they were born for them. That's how Pippen viewed Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. Neither of them simply wanted the ball in the closing seconds. They wanted everyone in the building to know it. They wanted the defender to feel the pressure, the opposing bench to expect what was coming, and then prove there was nothing anyone could do to stop it. That LeBron approaches those moments differently. His supporters call it smart basketball. They argue that he trusts his teammates, makes the correct read, and refuses to force difficult shots just to create a highlight. And to be fair, that approach has produced plenty of game-changing plays throughout his career. But that's exactly where the debate begins. When fans think about the greatest closers in NBA history, they usually don't picture a perfect pass to an open teammate. They picture the superstar demanding the moment, taking the shot himself, and living with the outcome.
LeBron the other night, and the game was on the line, and he made little or no effort to go after the ball.
That's the heart of Pippen's argument. It's not about whether LeBron has delivered in clutch situations, because he absolutely has. Those moments are part of his legacy, and no one can take them away. The difference, according to Pippen, is the feeling those moments create. When the game was on the line, everyone knew Michael Jordan was coming. There was no mystery. He wanted the ball, and everyone in the arena expected him to take the shot. Kobe Bryant carried that same mindset. No matter how difficult the attempt, he embraced the responsibility without hesitation. That LeBron's approach has always been different. Sometimes he completely takes over. Other times he trusts the open teammate or lets the play develop. For Pippen, that's the key distinction. At the highest level, greatness isn't just about making the smartest basketball decision. It's about demanding the biggest moment. That's why the famous flu game is brought into this conversation so often. More than any television debate or statistical comparison, that night captures exactly what Pippen means. Jordan was exhausted, battling illness, and visibly drained. But with the Bulls needing him, he refused to step aside. He didn't avoid the pressure or try to disappear into the background. Instead, he delivered one of the most legendary performances in NBA history. And the unforgettable image of Pippen helping Jordan off the floor afterward became a symbol of that relentless competitive drive. The very killer instinct Pippen believes separates Jordan from everyone else. Those are the moments Scottie Pippen experienced firsthand. He didn't learn about Michael Jordan's mentality from documentaries or interviews years later. He lived it every single day. He practiced beside him, competed alongside him, and witnessed the intensity up close. He saw the relentless drive, the impossible standards, the constant pressure, and the way Jordan treated winning, as if it were the only thing that mattered. That's why Pippen's opinions about LeBron carry so much weight. Whether people agree with him or not, he's not speaking as a fan watching from the outside. He's speaking as someone who understands championship pressure from inside the locker room and inside the huddle. But Pippen's argument wasn't only about clutch moments. He also questioned the path each superstar took to build a championship legacy. When the conversation shifted to LeBron's career, Pippen summed up his perspective with one short sentence: "I didn't chase mine." He didn't need a long explanation or a detailed comparison. Everyone understood exactly what he was implying. Pippen and Jordan stayed in Chicago, endured the setbacks together, and eventually built a dynasty. LeBron's championships came through different franchises, different superstar teammates, and multiple fresh starts. Whether that's fair or not remains part of the debate. But for Pippen, the journey matters just as much as the final result.
Jordan, behind the back on Russell, he turned it around and sent it to Pippen.
He was built different, competitive, 24/7. Not too many people are built like that.
I agree.
Willing to compete at any level and at anything. So when you look at these players in today's era, being LeBron, there's really no comparison. When you talk about the level of competitiveness.
None of this means LeBron's championships don't matter. They absolutely do. His titles in Miami, Cleveland, and Los Angeles are all legitimate and earned. But for Pippen, the journey to those championships is part of the conversation. He and Michael Jordan stayed together through the struggles. They lost together, learned together, improved together, and eventually built a dynasty. They didn't change teams whenever things got difficult, and they didn't start over with a new roster every few seasons. That's why so many old school fans view those Bulls championships differently. There was adversity behind them. There was patience. There was a long process before the rewards finally came. Pippen knows critics will immediately point out that he had Michael Jordan beside him, and he's never denied that. In fact, that's exactly why he believes his perspective carries weight. He had the closest possible view of what true basketball greatness looked like. He watched a player who wasn't just trying to win games, but who seemed determined to break his opponents mentally before the final buzzer. So when Pippen says LeBron doesn't share the same competitive mindset as Michael Jordan or even Kobe Bryant, he isn't comparing statistics or career totals. He's talking about mentality, intensity, and that relentless competitive fire that, in his eyes, separated the very greatest from everyone else.
About the level of competitiveness. Michael bunched up all of his competitiveness and sort of exposed it out to the world within 12 to 14 years.
One of Pippen's biggest points is that longevity and competitive hunger aren't the same thing. LeBron James has maintained an elite level play for more than 2 decades, and that's an achievement few athletes in any sport can match. No serious basketball fan can dismiss what he's accomplished over such a long career. But when Pippen looks at Michael Jordan, he sees a different kind of greatness. To him, Jordan's career was shorter, but every season felt relentless. Every challenge became motivation. Every criticism turned into fuel. Every opponent was treated like a personal mission to defeat. That's why Pippen once said Jordan compressed his competitive fire into roughly 12 to 14 seasons, while LeBron has spread his greatness across more than 20 years. In Pippen's view, one career was defined by extraordinary longevity, while the other burned with unmatched intensity from beginning to end.
One like LeBron has to spread that out for 20 plus years. It's not the same drive. It's not the same fight. It's not the same hunger.
That's where the GOAT debate truly divides. For LeBron supporters, the argument is built on longevity. Decades of elite play, record-breaking numbers, incredible durability, and unmatched consistency. For Jordan supporters, it's about the peak. It's about dominance, an undefeated finals record, and the overwhelming sense that once Michael Jordan reached the top, no one was taking him down. Pippen's point is that those two arguments measure greatness in completely different ways. One celebrates how long a player stayed elite. The other celebrates how unstoppable he was at his absolute best. Then there's a question of eras. Pippen has never accepted the idea that today's NBA is automatically more difficult than the one he played in. He acknowledges that modern players are more skilled in many areas. They shoot better. Spacing has transformed the game, and the overall talent across the league is deeper than ever. But the NBA of the 1990s demanded something different. Could you absorb constant physical contact? Could you finish through defenders packed into the paint? Could you attack the basket knowing a hard foul was waiting for you? And after taking that punishment, could you get back up and do it all over again without complaint? That's a version of basketball Pippen remembers. A game where physical toughness was tested every single night, and where surviving the season required more than just skill.
LeBron got lanes every night. When we played, there were no lanes. Wasn't nothing but hardwood floor. If you go to the basket, you're going to hit the wood. There's no comparison.
That's why Scottie Pippen's comments continue to resonate years later. He's not arguing that LeBron James isn't one of the greatest players in basketball history. His point is that the GOAT debate becomes incomplete when it's based only on statistics. Points, rebounds, assists, longevity, and records tell part of the story, but they don't tell all of it. According to Pippen, true greatness also has to include mentality. It has to include how a player responds when the pressure is at its highest, how he embraces the biggest moments, and the way he leads his team when everything is on the line. That's where Pippen believes the conversation changes. LeBron has put together one of the most remarkable careers the NBA has ever seen, sustaining greatness for more than 2 decades. But when the discussion shifts to killer instinct, the fear a player puts into opponents, and the confidence to own the final possession, Pippen still places Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant in a category of their own. His opinion comes from experience, not imagination. He watched Jordan demand a basketball when everyone else was exhausted. He saw him transform pain into motivation and pressure into dominance. He witnessed opponents lose confidence before the game-winning shot was even released. None of that diminishes LeBron's legacy. It simply explains why some players, former teammates, and fans still hesitate to rank him ahead of Jordan. Because in Pippen's eyes, greatness is measured only by how long you stay on top. It's also measured by how intensely you dominate when the stakes are highest. So, perhaps Pippen wasn't trying to stir controversy after all. Maybe he was simply describing what he witnessed from the closest seat imaginable. LeBron can own the longevity, the records, and one of the greatest resumes the sport has ever seen. But when it comes to that relentless late-game mentality, that ruthless, no-way-out competitive fire, Scottie Pippen still believes Michael Jordan possessed something rare. And years later, that opinion continues to fuel one of basketball's biggest debates.